Good afternoon, Wrestling Inc. Welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Wednesday to have a happy hump day and to talk the news from the world of professional wrestling for the past 24 hours. It's our good friend, Brian Wohl. Brian, B-Wo, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Hey, Nick, great to be here. What an exciting day for wrestling in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, I will be there. I'm actually going to be going right from this. I'm going to edit it together. I'm going to get the show out. I'm going to walk my dog real quick, and then, I'm jumping in a car with our good friend EJ Cameron to go down to the Wintrust Arena, and I will be there tonight. We're going to have a live coverage on site of Dynamite and the Rampage taping tonight. So, of course, always, if you're not already, stay glued to Wrestling Inc. We're going to have a lot of live coverage here tonight. Thank you for giving me that segue, B-Wo.
Man, I'm excited. I saw a tweet about it earlier. I think it was Dave Meltzer said it's been a legit sellout for weeks. You're going to be in a packed house, man.
We're a soft target for them. Chicago is like, we're just a soft target. They sell out pretty easily here. So,
I mean, it's crazy because they've run so many shows in Chicago, but the market is not tired of AEW.
No, it is not tired of AEW, Brian. So it's going to be a great night. Punk in action with QT Marshall. You got, Cabana, Brian Danielson. That's going to be a huge match. Real full circle for those two.
Got my Colts shirt on today.
Real full. If you've never watched the Wrestling Road Diaries, it's like a decade old or whatever at this point, and it's all about Colt and Brian on the road. One time, this is a true story. So Brian Danielson and Cabana obviously rode around a lot together. So one time I was coming back from a show with Colt that we had done up in Milwaukee or something like that, and I really had to use the bathroom, and he gave me a bottle. He's like, "You go to the back seat," and I was like, "I don't really want to do that." And he's like, "You're better than Brian Danielson," and I was like, "All right," and that's my that is my Cabana Danielson story right there. That's the only story I can think of that ties me into both those men. But it's an old one, and that shows you these guys very, very close. Very, very
WrestleMania close. Main eventers pee in bottles.
It's true. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that was the whole thing last week, is that guy pees in bottles when he's working out doesn't have time.
Oh my God.
We never talked about that on the show. Now we have.
Champions don't make it to the bathroom.
Don't need them. Don't need them. Do I have a problem? Depends. Get it?
It's a great Wednesday.
So the chat room's open here today. Obviously, things are lively. B-Wo's drinking Firewalker 505.
Yeah, 805.
Yeah. 805. That's a really good beer. I am not drinking a beer. I'm trying to stay clear-headed before I go drink beers and have fun here tonight. But you can all have fun with this here today. Samantha, good afternoon. Nick and Brian, everybody else. Jason Pock, hi, Nick and B-Wo. Happy Thanksgiving, right? We have Jason Pock also saying he's going to be looking for me on TV. Tweet about me if you see me, by the way. Let me know if I do pop up. Crush the wrestling legend. What up, right? Antonio Garcia, Turkey Leg and Wrestling, they go hand in hand, right? And Holden Caulfield here saying, sees Rock peeing in a bottle, cancels gym membership. I don't think that you're going to be working out. I don't think Rock's going to your gym to work out. Sorry, Holden.
Also, what are you doing looking at the people's strudel?
Yeah, keep your eyes to yourself, my friend. Eyes up here. So, great. We got a great show. The chat room is already lively. I'm looking forward to bringing your comments on as we go along here. We are going to be airing today later on after the news block before the mailbag, the final media scrum from AEW Full Gear. It's with Tony Khan. It's longer than the other scrums. It's very newsworthy. I know it's a little bit older now, but we try to make sure for all of you that don't want to sit there and watch the full 2 hours or whatever, the scrums, cut it into little pieces. So over time, you can enjoy it here on the show. So Tony Khan's in the house, and at the end of the show, we'll dive in the mailbag. We're going to look at NXT War Games. A bunch of matches were announced last night. But before we get to that, news you can use, news that'll leave a bruise, and this news actually ties into the mailbag a little bit. So Johnny Gargano has signed a 1-week extension to his original WWE deal. Now, his contract with WWE was previously set to expire on Friday, December 3rd. his involvement in NXT War Games on Sunday, December 5th, had some people wondering where he and WWE now stood. Well, we know now, according to Fightful, his contract ends on Friday, December 10th. There are still talks ongoing, and it was noted in the report that much like Adam Cole, WWE has spoken highly of Johnny Gargano being willing to extend his contract when other companies are likely interested. What's your takeaway from this one, Biwo?
It doesn't look good when you sign a 1-week extension. I was trying to think about the last time somebody signed a short-term extension and then they decided to stay. And the only one that really comes to mind is CM Punk in 2011. But I think he signed like a month or two extension. But all signs point to Johnny Gargano leaving. It looks like this is the end, and I think that's fine. He did just about everything you could do in WWE besides going to the main roster. He's held every belt. He's had so many fantastic matches with different superstars of different styles. I mean, Johnny's got nothing to be ashamed of here. He's going to go and have a great career somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I could see him doing if they did move the main roster, paid him more money, Vince would probably make him some kind of stooge or lackey, right? Probably wouldn't even really be wrestling that much. It'd just be my prediction. But okay, go ahead. Sorry, what?
Which is crazy because his nickname is Wrestling. Johnny Wrestling. Come on.
One would think. But so you think, what do you think? Another guy with a golden ticket layup for AEW? Is this going to be almost beat for beat kind of what happened with Adam Cole, in your opinion?
I don't know if this is necessarily someone who ends up in AEW. I feel like Johnny Gargano could go anywhere else and be very successful. New Japan could really use Johnny Gargano. There's a lot of fresh matchups for Johnny in MLW and in GCW. So
yeah, I not to cut you off, but wherever he goes has to be the money, right? I mean, he's a dad now. If they want to keep him in WWE, and I know NXT deals are not the same as main roster deals. In some cases, like significantly not the same. But it seems like at the very least, there's interest in retaining him here. He would probably see some increase. I don't see New Japan, MLW, whatever Ring of Honor is at the moment. I don't see anybody being able to offer him the money he's making now. The only viable option, in my opinion, would be to go to AEW. But it's so crowded over there right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine where Johnny Gargano fits in AEW's roster right now. He could have great matches with anybody there, of course, and he has. His matches with Andrade, I think, were some of the best of his career.
Yeah, and but it's like him, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Like, there's multiple people on WWE's roster right now that Kyle O'Reilly, right, who we'll talk about here more when we get to the mailbag. And good for them. First of all, if they get the ticket to ride it and could go make money and do that. But these guys, there is a kind of sameness to all of these guys. It is a little, I mean, they all kind of look and wrestle and feel a little bit the same. And I wonder what that does to the AEW product when you start to see everybody kind of in that main picture all looking and sounding a little bit the same. I don't know if that resonates with you.
I mean, they all came from same areas. They all, came up through Ring of Honor and PWG and then NXT. So that checks out. NXT was able to make it work. So I feel like AEW can make it work, but I don't know, man. I feel like Johnny belongs elsewhere right now, and maybe doing short shots in AEW would be the best. He does great stuff on Twitch. He's a great streamer. He could generate revenue that way.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, so we'll see here, but we'll talk. Actually, we can talk more about Johnny when we get to the War Games discussion, which will probably be a meatier than usual mailbag talk we have here today about that. So I'll toss this in. This got a lot of attention yesterday. Stephanie McMahon did this very brief interview with TalkSport where she confirmed that her 15-year-old daughter has started in-ring training to become a superstar. She also noted that her youngest daughter, I guess, wants to be her grandfather. She actually wants to run the company. She doesn't want to wrestle, but she's like 7, so like whatever. Okay. Anyway, thoughts on another McMahon entering the arena?
Look out, everybody else. That's going to be a powerful, powerful woman.
It is one of those things where it's like nothing's handed to you. It's harder when you're a generational talent. Is that the same for a McMahon? I don't know that it is. I feel like maybe we'll get better treatment than somebody who's a Flair or a Rhodes or something that's not of the blood, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt to have her genetics too. I mean, she's got size already coming from the McMahons and from Triple H. Their daughter is going to be a big wrestler. That is
And,
going to be one hell of a superstar.
and we've seen Vince have matches. Shane, I think, could probably be the closest to a active regular competitor, I guess.
I mean, Stephanie held the women's championship. She was
That's
pretty
true.
regular for a while.
That's true through the okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. And lastly here, before we get to Tony Khan, and then we're going to dive in the mailbag, we're going to talk all things NXT War Games, a topic I know you're very excited to discuss, Brian. So I'll lay this out and then I'll throw this to you, and you can give us your 2 cents on this one. So PWInsider.com, they're reporting there are no plans to release WWE's anticipated Superfan, The Story of Vladimir documentary, which tells the tale of the real-life story of Vladimir Abuzidi, one of the most dedicated and recognizable fans in WWE history. The film was 100% post-produced, completed. No official word why it's not being released. So there was speculation that unless someone with major power within WWE makes a decree, we likely won't see the film anytime soon. Now, WWE has not had any communication with Vladimir in several months. The longtime pro wrestling fan who still lives in New York City has reportedly had some health issues as of late. If WWE does release the film in the near future, they'll have to change the end of it because as of January 1st, some of the ending will have been outdated. I don't know what that means. The film streamed for 1 week as part of the Los Angeles Shorts Documentary Film Festival earlier this year and received positive feedback. There had been talk of WWE trying to spin off their original documentaries for additional revenue by licensing them to a third party, maybe an A&E, but there's no update on that front. All right, so that's there. What's got you judged up here about this one?
Well, I was a big fan of the WWE Network, and since they moved to Peacock, we have had so little content released on Peacock.
Amen.
One of the best things about being a wrestling fan the last couple of years has been the documentaries. WWE's stories on television have been very inconsistent, so the documentaries have given us a lot to go off of as fans. They already didn't release the Lex Luger Icon documentary, and they removed the RBD Icon documentary from Peacock. So what the heck? We know this Vladimir movie is done. What kind of content are we getting? We just got this ruthless aggression rehash last week. It's so bogus. We deserve some content as fans. This has been advertised to us for over a year now, and we're getting nothing.
So I was talking to somebody earlier today with some familiarity of this situation, and I got kind of some interesting insight into it. Like, first of all, how does WWE feel about their documentary division, right? Like, is that part of does Vince like that style? Does Vince like documentaries, or is he more concerned about the day-to-day product they're presenting, right? Like the actual idea of a documentary about a wrestling fan, right? When Vince's obsession is presenting nothing but larger than life characters, is really kind of the antithesis to the ethos of what Vince and WWE is, right? It's a very outside the box kind of concept by the standards of what WWE usually does, right? Even still, I have heard from people that have seen this documentary. They love this documentary, and they say it portrays WWE in the best light possible, right? So I don't know what people's preferences are or why things are being held up or whatever it may be, but I think it's a miss regardless, because apparently there's this great piece of content out there that makes you look cool, makes your audience feel a part of it, right? And you're not doing anything with it. And I just think it's foolhardy, a little foolhardy. Although I could be wrong. Maybe there's stuff out there that to make me feel very, very wrong if somebody wants to call me up and tell me here's a good reason we're not doing this. But it seems a little foolhardy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's beyond just the Vladimir. It's so many other things. Like the Luger one, I still can't get over. I don't know what's going on. There's just a lot of things going on in WWE organizationally that just don't quite make sense. I don't know. Like they keep saying that they're doing record financial numbers, but then they're trying to sell other things, offload other things, cutting talent. It's I don't know, man. It's really weird with this company.
Yeah, and and I think, and again, like I don't know everything. I'm just kind of drawing conclusions from things that I've been hearing in regards to the film department and stuff, right? But you know, Vince, what does Vince want, right? What is his focus on right now? Does he see, them like it, you don't put out like you don't see a Marvel movies and indie movies are very different. If you're in the business of making Marvel movies and you own this indie movie, it's just maybe not on your radar is maybe the best way I can sum that up, right? Like you're going to have that group of people there that are like, I get it. You're making all your money with your explosions, but come on, Parasite, right? I think that's a bit of the issue at hand here,
Mm. Do you think Vince just didn't notice it until right before it came out? And he was like, "Oh,
very,
God."
very, very,
Wow.
very, very likely. Very, very likely. Or Vince maybe didn't even ever notice it. Somebody else noticed it and like didn't want it. I don't know. Who knows?
Wow.
Right. But I think the Marvel indie film, I think that's a good description of kind of the situation we're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. The way studios use those Marvel films is they use them to carry the indie stuff to do the stuff that you really love, and
But
it's like, man,
Vince loves Marvel movies.
yeah,
It's what Vince loves, right?
yeah.
Samantha here saying I have friends who don't watch wrestling, but will watch a documentary, and that's what my girlfriend does. Liz will watch the Dark Side of the Rings and whatever. That's fine. We have Esteban Swan Esquire here. I've honestly stopped watching WWE, but will every now and then just watch a doc, right? So release the super fan, I guess is what we're saying here, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Brian, for joining me at the top of the show to talk all the news of the day. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in the comments section. And, of course, thank you to AEW, Tony Khan, for the access at the media scrums. Always a delight to be a part of those. And, again, tonight I'll be in the Wintrust Arena covering Rampage, covering Dynamite. If you see me, say hello. And, again, if you see me on TV, tweet me. Let me know because I can't see what's on TV. All right? So let's get to the mailbag. At Wink Daily, that's the account to follow. Last night, we found out a bunch of new matches that are going to be taking part at War Games next Sunday night. The men's War Games match is going to be an old school versus new school. It's going to have Ciampa, Gargano, Dunn, and Knight versus Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo, and Grayson Waller. The women's match, Team Gonzalez, consisting of Gonzalez, Shirai, Jade, and Kaylee Ray versus Team Kai, Dakota Kai, and Toxic Attraction. We're also going to get a cruiserweight title match between Joe Gacy and Roderick Strong. Legado del Fantasma is going to defend, Imperium is going to defend their titles against either Legado del Fantasma or Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. They're going to have a match next Tuesday to figure out who. And we're going to get a hair versus hair match between Cameron Grimes and Duke Hudson. So where do you want to start? What do you want to talk about? We'll get to the poll here after the fact. What do you want to dive into?
I mean, the men's War Games match is the most interesting one to me. I feel like this is the passing of the torch. It's likely Johnny Gargano's final match in NXT. And it looks like this is the swan song of a lot of these guys.
Yeah, and it is really something to be labeled Team Old School. Like, I don't think you want to be on Team Old School. I think that's not what you want. But what's interesting, like Ciampa's Ciampa. And I still think Ciampa, I know I think he's 5'11". He's not more than 6 foot, but there's intensity and realness about that guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about Ciampa on SmackDown. Raw, maybe. SmackDown, no. Pete Dunne is like still 17 years old, right? He's very young.
Yeah. He's like 24 or something.
Yeah,
Old school at 24? You gotta be kidding me.
let's look up how old Pete Dunne is here real fast. I'm interested in that. I know he's not 17. I was making a joke for everybody.
He like just grew a beard for the first time.
He's actually older than I thought. He's 28 years old, but that's still
Oh.
not old. That's still not old, right?
No.
And LA Knight, just wrong. Like him and Frankie Monet, they were like the last two that Hunter put his stamp on. That was like, no, these guys are real wrestlers. These two are real wrestlers. They're gonna be good for this brand. And Vince like, old, hate them. Next, like I worry about Knight.
Yeah, me too. It's tough, man. LA Knight just came in at the wrong time. He's a great wrestler. What a raw deal.
Yeah, and I don't want to be too doom and gloomy because, like, again, an LA Knight, I say could, if you move him to the main roster, some people are fine in an authority character role or something like that. I could see Vince putting LA Knight to use LA Knight as a manager, right? Maybe Adam Cole was too high profile. Could you get away with an LA Knight screaming ringside to get over Omos or whatever? Maybe,
Good. LA Knight could do anything. That guy is great on the mic and he's good in the ring. I like him.
So it seems a no-brainer here. Team New School is going to win. This will be a coronation moment for these four. They're all going to get to pose. What an interesting group of men. That's all I can say.
Man.
The women's match doesn't grip me kind of same way, right? It seems to be a little bit more thrown together. Kaylee Ray just showed up and was like, I'm on your team. And they're like, all right. Like, whatever.
NXT is flailing right now. It has gone off the deep end, and it used to be my favorite brand in wrestling, and I can barely stand to watch it right now. It is tough.
Cruiserweight match, Gacy taking on Roderick Strong. This one kind of getting thrown together real quickly here too with the standoff between the entities. Joe Gacy still just, I get that they're doubled, tripled. I think we might be on quadrupling down on Joe Gacy at this point. I gave it a chance when he started creating this kind of Manson-esque stable. I don't know, man. I don't know who this is for. I don't know who are you targeting with this character? That's what I don't know.
I don't get it. I hope for better things for Roderick Strong.
So here's my prediction with this tag title match scenario. So we're going to get Legado del Fantasma versus O'Reilly and Wagner on Tuesday. A rare moment where there's a 2-week story arc in the NXT 2.0, right? You're going to have matches. You're going to have matches with some stakes building to a pay-per-view. So, wow, crazy. I think Legado del Fantasma wins to go up against Imperium. And after the loss, I would imagine we're going to get Kyle O'Reilly turning on Von Wagner to set up some kind of final program for him to kind of pay off this dopey tag team he's been doing where he's some schmuck. And so he can go make money elsewhere would be my guess.
That makes the most sense, Nick. I think you're right. I hope they can at least learn from this egg storyline so they can at least have a beginning, middle, and end, like you pointed out yesterday, man. We need some beginning, middle, and end in NXT and on Raw.
Even if the end isn't great.
Yeah.
End, right? Finality. It's something happened. You got my interest. Oh, there's a finish. Let's do it again. Lastly here, and before we get to the poll, which, by the way, spoiler alert, total blowout. Hair versus hair, Cameron Grimes versus Duke Hudson. I was coy on Duke Hudson initially because I just think poker's really boring. And as a poker player, I know poker's super boring. But of the new class, I think there's something about Duke. I kind of like Duke. I don't know if he'd look good bald. I don't know what they're going to do here. Grimes just kind of got a haircut. I don't know how you get out of this one.
Yeah, Grimes just kind of got a haircut, which seems it makes no sense. He's about to do a hair match. Why would you get a haircut before a hair match? I don't know, man. This is so weird. And I feel so weird about Grimes. I feel like he's got to lose here, right?
The thing that is about, what's going on with Grimes right now is what Vince did with Keith Lee, where it's like, you're too funny. You're too relatable. Go be mean. Go be a mean man. That makes me scared. I want men.
Oh.
So that brings us to the poll question. What match you most excited about? A little over 100 votes here, which, by the way, very low interest in today's poll. Very low interest in the poll. Blowout, though, 76.1 men's war games, 17-1 women's, and then 3.4 for Gacy Strong and 3.4 for everything else. So one match card here with not a ton of interest. King Owen 94 on Twitter saying, when is it? That's next Friday, right? Wow, what a build. And everybody here, right? Killer of Demons 669. So Gargano's contract ends on the 10th now. We have QZ Mosley. So Johnny leaving in a week. That's the story. The story of this pay-per-view has nothing to do with the card, it would seem. The interest level here is more so about Gargano. And, I forget. It was Antonio here saying old school getting destroyed so Vince can say he's right. Like this will be his moment. The new guys will be there. The last remnants of the old guard will be left in rubble, and we move on.
So it is, and so it shall be.
Wow.
I just want to get it over with so we can see where we're going, because NXT has been in a terrible purgatory this past month. And I feel like we're going to be stuck in a purgatory until Braun Breaker can get the championship off Ciampa.
Dude, and I don't, I was having this talk the other night with somebody, and it's all armchair quarterbacking, right? But was that where the NXT 2.0 momentum ended from the start? Like, should they just have taken the momentum they had with the one thing that seemed to be working in Braun, just put the title on him, have him beat Ciampa, right? You legitimize one person. You could at least build around one person. And Ciampa's Ciampa. Ciampa's bulletproof,
I think so. I mean, WWE hasn't been gun shy about a lot of things in the past. They were happy to have Brock defeat Kofi on that first SmackDown in just a couple of seconds. And I know Braun isn't Brock yet, but he's supposed to be the guy. And we all feel like he's the guy. The internet has been saying he's the guy, and the internet is the people. Everyone's on the internet. So it's not like these aren't the fans. These are the fans. And I just go with it.
Remember when everybody was really excited about Parker Boudreaux coming to WWE? Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember. So anyway, everybody, that's going to wrap us up here for today. News and mailbag and, media scrums. And it's been a great run. It's been a great year. We got December still to go. And we will be releasing content the next 2 days on our RSS feed. So if you need daily content, you need to get away from the fam, go outside, have a beer, smiz, whatever you want to do. We got content for you. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day special. Me and Jimmy Corderas, we're looking at Survivor Series 2021. Jimmy's full thoughts on the show. And then he has a couple anecdotes about being in Iraq with WWE during tribute to the troops that are funny and sometimes very, very scary. And then on Friday, it's the first time I'm releasing this interview in full. So earlier in the show, I spoke with Dr. Frank Ramascavage, who was a doctor for the WWE. He treated Mick Foley after he got put through Hell in a Cell. He treated Steve Austin after Steve Austin broke his neck. He sewed up Razor Ramon's mustache, like crazy, crazy stories. It's over 40 minutes long, so we busted it up into 2 parts, and I released it in 2 parts earlier this year. On Friday, if you're looking for some end-of-the-week listening, the full interview we're going to include there. Our great new video guy, Marsh, has also been chopping that up and putting some clips from that interview over on Wrestling Inc.'s YouTube channel. So Dr. Frank Ramascavage, I say he's a character in the sense that he's a very eccentric gentleman. He is not actually a character. He is a very real doctor. And of course, no, wait, that's not anything. WrestlingInc.com. That's the home of this show. We're on all your socials. And of course, tonight after Dynamite, we'll have the Wrestling Inc. podcast here. And then I believe Friday after SmackDown, we'll be back at it, and you know how we do. So go support the Wrestling Inc. podcast as well. BWO, Brian, anything you want to say, put over here before we all leave for the Thanksgiving weekend holidays here?
And have a great holiday, you guys. And I'm so excited for Cabana Danielson tonight. Chicago, make some noise for our boy Colt.
All right. And I am at Nick _Hausman over on Twitter. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will talk to you on Monday. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.